Happy mid-morning, guys. All right, well, after posting a video like I did this morning, it's never easy to go forward, but we all have to. Okay, we're still here, and we still need to move on with life as we have it, even as others don't. So I want to get back into the prepping part of this morning here and ask you about your, if you use the term, after action report. What did we learn? Okay, now Winter Storm Elliott has now pretty much moved out of the United States, up into Newfoundland and that sort of stuff. We still have cold weather, but it's still winter. I mean, looking around today, temperatures are only supposed to be below zero in upstate Minnesota, North Dakota, stuff like that. So basically what we have now is regular winter. And ironically, later this week, we'll have spring weather. I mean, for me, it's supposed to be in the 60s for nearly a week. But what did we learn from this storm? Because a lot of us got a chance to experience something that's not normal for our area, including me. Now, sure, winter hits, but, you know, the deep freeze went all the way down into parts of Mexico. Okay, you guys have seen the stories on the illegals trying to cross the border, that what are we going to do? It's freezing cold here. Well, you know what? It's December and you're going north. Yeah, that kind of happens, okay? But, you know, Texas isn't used to deep freezes. The deep south isn't used to deep freezes. Even here, you know, first time in a long time we've had below zero temperatures. First time since I've been in Tennessee in 4 years that it's been this cold. Okay, so we all got a chance to learn something. You look at Europe, or you look at the United States with the deep freezes both of us gone into, it was pretty telling that electric cars are not the future. I mean, I can't tell you how many stories I read about people who couldn't get their car started. But there was a story of a guy, I think he was in Virginia, where he was trying to charge his Tesla, and he couldn't get any charge in it in Virginia from his home charger. So he tried to go to one of these Tesla supercharger stations and left his car plugged in for 2 hours and got exactly zero charge in the battery because it was too cold. All right. We all saw all the stories over Christmas Eve about rolling blackouts all around the country, okay, because the power grid operators all said, we can't meet the demand, we can't meet the demand. And yet they still want this country to go away from fossil fuels and entirely to electric. You know, this just proved to everybody who's got a brain, which pretty much leaves out the liberal side of the country, that the switch over to renewable resources isn't in the cards now. It may be in the future once technology gets better and they figure a better capacity for storage and stuff like that. But this was pure proof that it doesn't work, okay? That we can't do it yet. Maybe in the future, but we ain't there yet, okay? So all these pipe dreams of everybody owning an electric car and you running your whole house on solar and stuff like that, not realistic, all right? But what did we learn? And I learned a few things, okay? And what I challenge y'all to do, what we're so good on this channel about doing, is sharing things that we've learned with other people so y'all can learn from each other. So the next time we hit a cold spell like this, and we will, trust me, it's going to get cold again. Maybe not this winter, maybe this winter, we don't know. But this is why we prep. So what did I learn? One of the first things I learned is my heat pump on my house cannot handle negative temperatures below zero. Sure, it continued to work, but anybody that's got a heat pump, you know, it says, auxiliary heat would come on my heat pump. And so you guys understand, it's kind of like how a hairdryer works. You know how the element of the hairdryer gets bright orange? Well, that's the auxiliary heat. There's that in the air transfer or whatever it's called that will start to heat up to try to blow warm air in, because it's not able to extract enough warm air from outside. Well, so what happened? I had the auxiliary heat running. It comes on automatically, and it still could not keep the house to the thermostat where we are. We watched the temperature drop as the heat was running. That's how cold it was outside. So we learned real quick that it's a blessing that we have our backup propane heater in the house. We had that running as well, and that kept the house combined. Between the two, we could get a stable temperature in the house. So again, there was proof to me that having backups aren't necessarily for when one goes out. You may need your backups to run in conjunction with your primary to make it work. That was something that was learned here. I was happy I had it. Okay, so pat me on the back for having that ahead of time. But something for y'all to think about. Having that backup heat plan might be something you need to get in your preps. The other thing I learned, pipes freezing. Now, again, it doesn't get this cold in Tennessee that often, but once is all it takes. And we were monitoring where we had cold temperatures in the house, and the cold water ran in the bathrooms, it ran in the shower, it ran in the bathtub. No problem there whatsoever. What we did notice is our kitchen sink, which is on a north-facing exterior wall, the pipes must have somewhat frozen, because the hot water had no problem coming out the spigot, but the cold water got real slow and eventually stopped. We kept it on a slow drip the whole time, but it's on an exterior wall. And granted, all the pipes run through a crawl space here, and I'm on the side of a mountain, so, I mean, it's literally underground, and still was cold enough to freeze. Now, we got PEX pipes, and it didn't freeze terribly, so maybe the pipes expanded a little bit. We didn't have any sort of leaks or anything. But I will be getting under the house and putting some insulation on those pipes, because it got cold enough to freeze them. I learned that, okay? If you don't know what PEX pipes are, they're like the soft plastic, the ones that you see are red and blue, as opposed to PVC, white, or certainly copper pipes, or if you go back old enough house, iron pipes in your house. Okay, those will bust. The softer plastic has the ability to flex a little. So those were a couple of things I learned. Other than that, we fared pretty easy through this. No big deal. It was cold, obviously letting the dogs out, things like that, but we didn't leave them out too long. They didn't want to stay out too long. But I heard from some other people, and in reading some stories, just seeing the effects on it, and people talking about cars, okay, and door handles breaking because they froze, windows breaking because the glass had frozen, and when they were trying to scrape ice off the window, the pressure broke a window, okay? Something to think about there. How do you get into a frozen lock or a frozen door handle or a frozen window? This is something we should all have. A little bit of rubbing alcohol, isopropyl alcohol. Spray this on the window, spray this on the lock, spray it in the lock, on the door handle, whatever. Alcohol freezes at a significantly lower temperature than water. If you got frost on your window or something, you turn the defrost on, you let the car run for 15 minutes till the frost comes off or whatever, spray this on, it's done in 2 seconds, okay? You can unfreeze something just by a little bit of isopropyl alcohol. I'd suggest keeping some of that in the car. You go to work and it froze all day. Doesn't do you any good if it's at home. Keep some in the car. I keep it also to clean my hands after taking trash out or something when I'm at the dump, whatever it would be, you know. But that one thing that we all had from COVID, it's got other uses too. Just saying, it's good to have in the car. But let me give you this one too. How many people, how many did you hear, couldn't get their car started? Not because it was an electric car and didn't have gas or didn't have power or something like that, or not that they ran out of gas, but because the battery's frozen. Okay, and I had this happen with my truck. And God, I got one of these. Okay, you know, it's a little charger. I mean, it's powerful enough to turn over an F-150. So, yeah, that'll work there. But I know a lot of you said, hey, I don't have to leave the house, whatever. Sure. And, you know, not saying you had to go get a loaf of bread or whatever, but let's say somebody just sliced a finger when they were cutting Christmas dinner or something like that. You need to go to the ER. You need to be able to start a car. Okay. Having something like that is definitely worthwhile. It's the little things that you learn. You know, a vehicle if you're parking at a garage, maybe not so much. You know, you get a little bit of protection from the cold winds or anything. But even then, as cold as it got, you want to make sure that car starts. You know, those are some little things that I wanted to bring up from my experiences to share with you guys, things that I learned, noticed, whatever. Fortunately, we didn't have it that bad. And what little problems we did face were easily overcome with preps I had. But maybe you don't have something like that. So this is a chance to learn from what happened to me. What I'd really love to see is down in the comments if y'all would share with each other what you learned, what challenges you faced, what happened to you that, oh my God, thank God I had this prep and this is what we were able to do. Or, oh my God, this happened and we weren't prepared for it, but this morning I'm going to Walmart, Amazon, Tractor Supply, whatever, and going to get something to fill this in. This is how we learn, okay? Not only by our own experience, but by sharing experiences with others. And that way we can all get better prepared for when the next cold spell hits. It's just one thing we have to prepare for. But like I said once before, guys, you know, we all look at economic collapse, World War III, whatever, and those are distinct possibilities. Cold weather? Yeah, that's coming every year. Are we going to see more this year? Yeah. Will it get that bad? Maybe, maybe not. We don't know. But I want to remind everybody of grand solar minimum. Higher highs and lower lows. There's a real good possibility we have another storm like this come through this winter, especially if you live up north. Okay. Use this to your advantage. Learn from it. It's what we should all be doing. Have a good day. Pinball out.